Hi, this is a breathing practice or a pranayama practice. We're going to practice a breath called yogic breathing. And the first order of business is to get familiar with sort of the three locales that you can place your breath in your body. The first is your abdominal regions. That's in the space between your bottom ribs, right, and your pelvis. It's the lower half of your trunk. Now your rib cage and your abdomen are separated by a flat sheet of muscle called your diaphragm. So your diaphragm sits kind of right about here, and it's actually sort of domed up. And when you breathe in, when your lungs fill with breath, the diaphragm contracts and moves down into your abdomen to make space for your lungs to fill up. And when you exhale, the diaphragm domes back up as your lungs empty. So the lungs fill, the diaphragm contracts and presses down, and when that happens, your belly expands, it distends, because the diaphragm puts pressure down on all of the organs in your abdomen and causes the front wall of your abdomen to expand outwardly. And then as you exhale and the diaphragm domes back up, sort of the sac that holds your organs moves up and your belly softens and settles back into your body. So when we practice abdominal breathing, we're practicing observing that, the belly expanding and contracting. You can't actually breathe into your belly. So that's the abdominal breath. Then we have the thoracic breath, and that happens at the level of your rib cage. As your lungs fill up with breath, your ribs lift and spread. And as you exhale, the ribs lower and draw in towards each other. So in your mind, you could visualize something like an umbrella lifting and spreading as you open it. And when you lower an umbrella, it's that same movement. It draws down and the sides draw in towards each other. So that's thoracic breathing. And then there's clavicular breathing, which happens at the level of your collarbones. Now, each of these homes of breath is actually associated with different kinds of activity and mental states. So, for example, your clavicular breath is a breath that you might use when you are scared, right? The collarbones slide up, the shoulders shrug up, or when you're sobbing, right? You'll hear people do that. So the clavicular breath is not typically associated with desirable mental states. And so we don't want to spend a ton of time in the clavicular breath, because just as your mental states affect the way that you breathe affects your mental states, and we're not trying to create upset or anxiety with our breathing practice. Then we have our thoracic breath, and the thoracic breath is really associated with activity. So if, for example, you're doing vigorous aerobic activity, you're out for a run, you'll be breathing thoracically. And then we have belly breathing, which is associated with deep relaxation, right? So if you've ever watched a sleeping baby, they tend to be very chill, and you'll see their belly rise and fall as they breathe. Now, the yogic breath actually combines all of these breaths. We'll spend a little bit of time practicing belly breathing, rib cage breathing, and clavicular breathing. And in doing so, you cultivate the ability to control your breath. And when you can control your breath, you gain a measure of control over your mental states. And that is why we practice doing pranayama. So let's get comfortable. You can sit up or you can lie down, your choice, whichever is going to make you more comfortable. And then take your hands and rest them on your abdomen. Allow your eyes to close. And as you breathe in, feel your belly expand, feel your belly inflate into your hands, and you'll feel your hands rise. As you exhale, feel your belly sink and settle into your body. Breathe in, feel your belly expand, feel it rise. Exhale, feel your belly settle. And there's no abdominal engagement, right? You don't have to try to make anything happen. You just lean your awareness in to observe the movement of your belly. It's already happening. And use your hands as sensors to help you feel that movement. Your hands are giving you some sensory feedback about the movement of your belly. Let's take one more abdominal breath. Now bring your hands to the sides of your rib cage. Use your palms to hold on to the side seams of your shirt. And there's a couple of ways that you can get there. You can have your elbows out wide, right, with your hands touching the sides of the rib cage. You can look at me if you're not sure what I mean. Or you can fold your arms over the front of your rib cage and hang on to the sides of your chest in the position of a defiant toddler. And again, we're going to use the sensitivity of our palms to help us feel and sense the motion of the ribs. As you breathe in, feel your ribs widen into your hands and lift. And as you exhale, feel the ribs descend and draw in towards each other. And please don't force the breath, right? Don't try to breathe in a way that's deeper or more extreme than you would naturally do. We're just practicing sensing the movements that go along with our natural breath. And if it helps, you might picture your ribs lifting and spreading like that umbrella, the umbrella image I spoke about in the introduction. And then the rib cage drawing down, the sides drawing in towards each other, like when you lower an umbrella. Now take your fingertips up to your collarbones and using very, very light touch. See if you can sense motion in your collarbones as you breathe. You might feel the collarbones elevate ever so slightly as you inhale. And settle back down as you exhale. Now allow your arms to rest. If you're in sitting, you could rest your hands on your lap. If you're lying on the floor, just allow your arms to rest on the ground away from your sides. We'll enter into the complete yogic breath. In the yogic breath, you begin by sensing the inflation of your belly, and then your ribs, and then your collarbones. And you empty out in the opposite direction, from collarbones to ribs to belly. So breathe in, feel your belly inflate, and then your ribs. Feel the subtle lift in your collarbones. Exhale, empty out from collarbones to ribs to belly. So your breath rises up in a seamless wave from belly to ribs to collarbones. And then you empty out collarbones, ribs, belly. Continue to breathe in that same manner. Allow your breath to be relaxed and even. Try not to struggle to make more of your breath, right, than your body naturally wants to give you. Sometimes when we force it or exaggerate it, that makes the breath easier to sense. But instead of forcing it, lean your attention in, like you're leaning in to hear someone that's speaking very quietly. Complete one more breath. Conclude with your exhalation. And as you arrive at the end of your exhalation, shift awareness from your breath back to your whole body. Become aware of sounds in the room around you. Be aware of light filtering through your eyelids. And allow your eyes to open. If you're lying down, you could find your way back up into a seated position. Thank you for joining me for Yogic Breathing. Namaste.